Do it right. That means regulate. That means don't disrupt. That means be a part of the solution. Don't be tough. And do not cause problems. And don't come afoul of regulations. Show up on time and how. What's true already? Cause you can see too, and you got intuition telling you this guy is a mission beyond that which I can accomplish. Mission impossible, mission insane, mission unwise. You're engaged in a mission that will lead to a million lives being lost. What's true already? Cause you can see too, and you've got intuition telling you this guy is a mission beyond that which I can accomplish. Mission impossible, mission insane, mission unwise. You're engaged in a mission that will lead to a million lives being lost. Is getting rather old. You're the one who told me that she wished I was told that dog had told it already is done. I told it already is done. I told it already is done. I told it already is done. Something better stop barking, else I'm gonna be mad. Something better stop barking, else I'm gonna be sad. Something better stop barking, else I'm gonna be mad. You better stop barking now. Mission impossible, mission insane, mission unwise. You're engaged in a mission that will lead to a million lives being lost. I'm looking for a new land. I'm looking for sport hands. I'm looking for sport hands. I'm on a mission. Can accomplish mission impossible, mission insane, mission unwise. You're engaged in a mission that will lead to sport hands. I'm looking for what's true already, cause you can see too, and you've got intuition telling you this guy is a mission beyond that which I can accomplish. Mission impossible, mission insane, mission unwise.
Hello, I'm host Eric, host Talking with Famous People. Thank you for watching my little introduction there. That song is called Compton Better Stop Barking. And let's get right into the Enneagram stuff. Here on the first slide, and Bob, can you try please to stay on top of it this time? Okay, I don't know if you ever watched any of my videos before. I've got my assistant Bob, and he moves the slides around for me, and sometimes he's, I don't know. No, Bob, I'm not talking about you. You can hear me, but you can tell him anything pretty much. Anyway, Bob, can you start the slides, please? So you see on this first slide here, it's about the peacemaker, challenger, the reformer, the enthusiast, helper. These are the names of the different types for Enneagram type, the Enneagram model. And you'll see that it got divided it into a 3. So it's basically a tri-logic, the instinctive center, the thinking center, the feeling center. I'm a 7, that's a thinking center. And the goal of the Enneagram, according to the Enneagram Institute anyway, is to become a balanced, fully functioning person who can draw on the power of each virtue as needed. And that each of types represents some part of him. Life's important. You're running pretty quick here, Bob, but thank you. Okay. He likes to keep me on task, which is good, but okay, fine. Enneagram. Look at these 3 models here and compare the 3. You'll see that we've got agent as process is the whole for Enneagram, which is to say an agent is a being unfolding. MBTI Jung just talks about the agent, doesn't worry about the process philosophy. And Kerf says, actually, agent is an emergent function of process rather than no. Process is an emergent function of agency rather than the other way around. Okay, so parent-child interaction is the cause part of Enneagram, not addressed in the other 2 models, which allows these things to be not mutually exclusive. Okay, can we pause here, please, Bob? Can we go back, actually? Okay, Bob's playing. Oh, you're being very passive-aggressive. Go back, please. All right, just leave it there. I'm not done with this slide. All right, so look, Enneagram as a model. This is sort of a model table. that explains different aspects of the model. The whole thing for Enneagram, agent is process. What does that mean? It means your existence as an agent is the unfolding and continuing, ongoing experiencing of a process. And then MBTI Jung just treats the agent as an agent, which is to say, treats the agent as a static being for the purpose of typing it. And of course, any type model necessarily has to affix permanence somewhere in order for there to be any meaning to be gleaned from it. And this is where I think Kerf has an advantage over both these models. Is Kerf is particularly interested in where we affix stasis and how that impacts how we think and act with other people. So, Enneagram has an advantage because it addresses the cause of these things. Why are you one way or the other? The inverse proportionality relations between certain functions, the 1-4 slot functions, really sort of is the engine that drives the Kerf model's understanding of why we have the model or what we're supposed to do with it. So, and that comes down to the goal part at the end there. However, in the Kerf model, the top level taxonomy is still binary, which is stasis and fluidity, and the MBTI top level taxonomy is wrong, which is judgment and perceiving, and the Enneagram top level taxonomy is non-exclusive of either of those two, which is fear, rage, and shame, because growth is the Enneagram's desired, stated mission statement. Understanding is MBTI's mission statement. Understanding of yourself and understanding of others for the purpose of whatever, dealing with them better, having a better life, whatever. So the purpose of Kerf is liberation. And it would make sense, according to Enneagram, that I would be mostly interested in liberation because, according to Enneagram, I'm driven by fear. And that's what one liberates oneself from most frequently, unless one's being oppressed. I'm not being oppressed. I am yielding to my fear in a way that, not that not right now, not at the moment, but in general in life, to the extent that I have problems, it's yielding to my fear. I choose to interpret in general life problems as active, that the default state is everything's fine, and then some active thing happens that causes a problem. And not everybody views things like that at all. For example, in a relationship, my ex-wife, she viewed things as process, right? She didn't view that relationship as static at all. She viewed it as very fluid, and that it ought to be fluid as well. So that's a problem between somebody who views it as static and that it ought to be static. There are going to be big problems. You want me to maintain you? I don't understand. What do you mean? Like, give you presents and little stuff, and why are we doing that? Well, of course. The reason is because she thinks that's how it ought to be, and I think it ought to be the exact opposite. So, and that's sort of core to our perspective. We can't avoid it, in my opinion. Now, let's go on to the next slide. Bob, yeah, I know it's been a long fucking time on that slide. Shut up. All right, so we talked about fear. Let's look at these little paragraphs, these little highlighted things. Enneagram says 6 have trouble trusting their own minds, looking outside themselves for something to make them feel sure. 7s have fear about their inner world. 7s would like to stay clear of anxiety, pain, loss, deprivation. To cope, 7s keep their minds occupied with distracting themselves from their fears, attempt to actually do many of the different things that distract them as possible. And it says, 7s can be found staying on the go, pursuing one experience after another, and keeping themselves entertained and engaged with their many ideas and activities. Let's move forward. Bob, Yeah, okay. So let's thank you for that actually, Bob. That was good. As you see here, you see the numbers and the letters, I mean the numbers and the names here again, and the enthusiast fits here. 6, the loyalist fits there. So just for your reference. Let's move forward. All right, now these are parenting styles and natures, inborn natures. The thing I like best about Enneagram is this parenting versus inborn nature combo equals a number thing. I like that a lot. And it's something MBTI doesn't do at all, and it's something Kurt doesn't do at all, and I want to just cop it and just say, okay, this makes sense. But I have to finish coordinating the two models together, right? Because there's some issues I have. So, okay, active, responsive, or neutral. Your parent is either active, responsive, or neutral. You are either active, born active, responsive, or neutral. They have these really loaded words here as in explaining the three parenting styles. Active being demanding, assertive, bossy, outspoken, intimidating, egocentric, expressive, willful. Responsive being supportive, responsive. Responsive is a trait of responsive. That's great. Engaging, affectionate, friendly, sympathetic, cooperative. Neutral is avoidant, withdrawn, indifferent, apathetic, absent, reserved, ignoring, neglectful. Like, why do they have to be so? Like one good parenting style and two bad. Well, I mean, I tend to sort of intuitively agree with that. It feels right to me because I'm a responsive parent, though. A responsive parent obviously came up with these lists, right? So another way to look at it is simply top down, bottom up, and parallel. If you're parenting top down, you're telling your kid what to do. If you're parenting bottom up, you're asking your kid what he wants to do. If you're neutral, you're just sort of letting your kid do what he's going to do and not worried about it. So, all right, let's move on to the next slide and see why this is so interesting. So there's three parenting styles. So what, Eric? So shut up and wait. I'll tell you. All right. So this one, responsive child versus responsive parent. This produces Enneagram Type 6. This person has a very close relationship with his caretaker, dependent on the nurturing, affectionate figure. Strong desire for harmonious relationships is created. Us against the world, endearing and loyal to their chosen group. Very afraid of losing the safe nurturing ground. All right. So this type would sound to be sort of the opposite of 8. A little bit. 8s are very domineering and willful. This one is very harmony oriented. So that's type 6. They see if you're a type 5, then that means you began life naturally as a neutral child, and your parent is responsive. And the support and affection and encouragement and stuff are viewed as smothering. But these people are generally pretty well off. I mean, they're in good shape because while they are afraid of being intruded upon because their parents used to make a fuss over them and suffocate them with their attention and advance for closeness, at the same time, they feel safe. You know, the fact that they're being offered more than they need can be a little smothering, but it's not as nearly as bad as less than you need, right? Okay, so let's move forward. That's type 5, INTP, turns out kind of alone a lot of times, isolated, so to speak, or whatever. The next slide, thank you, Bob. Wait, this is the same one as before. Isn't it? Yeah, this is the same one. Bob, god damn it. Well, what's next? Let's see. That's still that. What's this? Oh, okay. Good. Thank you. Why do you have the same slide in twice? Lacey, I'll scold Bob. You let me scold Bob. No. That's my job, not yours. Well, I'm sorry, but I told you it's not polite. Anywho, where were we, Bob? 8? Okay, cool. Active. So, yeah. With 8, you got your active parent is impatient and intolerant of the child's rebellious nature, and spotting other people's weaknesses, stand up to their dominating parents and keep their own active inborn approach. Okay, so that's interesting. notion because, again, I've identified myself as either 7 with 8 or 7 with 6 or 7 with both. So I'm gonna be looking here, obviously, for things that resonate with me in terms of, yeah, I've experienced that, and that makes sense that I would turn out like that. And I'll go into that in a little bit once I finish this quickly over these last little couple of slides that covers 5, 6, 7, and 8 basically. And then active child versus responsive parent. When I read this and was highlighting it, I was crying because it made me appreciate my parents so much, you know. The demands and concerns of the active child are usually received with benevolence and a supportive, encouraging attitude. The child can express himself openly and receive attention without much effort. The active child becomes self-confident, carefree, and expects his interactions to be positive and favorable to his needs. Giving him a good deal, the responsive parent is sympathetic and loving, thus stimulating the child's playful, self-expressive side and giving him a good deal of personal freedom. I had shitloads as a kid. Puts the kids out the door and see you at sundown, you know? And we would just be off and running. We had a little gang of boys around the streets, you know? It's going to come into play as well in a little bit. Anyway, this childhood scenario promotes a cheerful, optimistic type who knows how to charm and manipulate others into easily getting his way. Entertaining and expressive, such a child may later expect instant gratification for all his needs and desires and avoid investing time and effort into long-term goals. I do invest time and effort into long-term goals. I invest time and effort into a lot of long-term goals. But I also expect instant gratification in terms of, well, basically in terms of what I get to avoid more than in terms of what I have to do. So I don't mind working on things that have delayed reward. I do mind working on things. Compton? No. I do mind working on things that I don't like to do at all. So that's what that's the distinction for me. Okay, let's move on. Next slide, please. Where are we at now? We're at, so here's some things about how the cognitive functions relate. Oh, that's a neat trick, Bob. You made it go up like that? Like Star Wars, kind of. Well, you can see the reason I have this slide in here at all is because it's like, okay, that's not meaningful to me. If you're talking about type 2, it could be either extroverted feeling or introverted feeling. And it could be often these, sometimes these, rarely those. That's just so broad and meaningless that I just didn't even like it. That's why I put it there. It's like, okay, well, this is just garbage. It's not making a bright enough distinction. This is a little bit better. This shows correlations between type and MBTI type. And notice, interestingly, the total number of responses. Who are the rarest people in this study? ENFJ, ISFP, and ENTP are the rarest. Well, actually, those ones over there on the right are rare too. There's a lot of INFPs involved. Why are so many? I don't know. Anyway, it's a small pool of data. However, here are correlates, as you see right here. And it shows you that type 7 correlates most strongly with ENFP, not with ENTP. But that ENTP correlates most strongly with type 3, the achiever type. Now, on some level, you would say I'm an achiever in the sense that I'm, I guess professionally successful or whatever. Not hugely successful, don't get me wrong. I am not, I'm not rich by any means. I'm running a functioning business, basically. And that's an accomplishment for me, frankly, given my lack of interest or ability in business matters. But yeah, I guess you might describe me as that, but I don't identify with that type really. I identify with 7 for sure. I'm not really that interested in achievement. I'm interested in manifesting things that ought to be or something like that. It's still different. All right, so look at this one here. This one narrows it a little further. And this one does have us on the list for 7. as the second most common 7 type. Up there at the top. So, okay, let's move forward. There's another one with 2 letters, and here it is. Okay, so this one, I like the 2-letter one. It makes it simple to understand. ENs are 7s. All right, so if we look at here, these are our word bank things on each of the types. The perfectionist. Number 2, also called the reformer. Number 2, the helper. I like the helper type. Number 2, 2s are great. Number 3, the achiever. Adaptable, excelling, driven, and image conscious. I am image conscious, huh? Fuck. I'm not really excelling. I'm not that driven. Though, that's the thing. I really am not. I'm more driven to have fun and have a general sense that I ought to try to make my fun pay off in some way. Alright, number 4. Expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, temperamental. I'm pretty expressive. I'm pretty dramatic. I'm pretty self-absorbed. I'm not that temperamental, though. I'm pretty even keel, actually. Sometimes they'll say the exact opposite, though, so who knows. Number 5. Perceptive, innovative, secretive. Okay, that's INTP. I know this woman. I know this woman well. Type 6. Engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. This number 6 is called the poop gatherer, the loyalist, right? This one is a type that I actually don't quite understand what they mean here. I don't have an image in my head of this person, right? I can picture all the other people. This one is a little weird to me. I don't have that clarity. Maybe it's the responsible part. So it's kind of like my mom, I guess. It's my mom. Or what else would it be? My mom might be a helper type. No, she's not. My mom is... Yeah, my mom's a 6. 7 is spontaneous, versatile, acquisitive, and scattered. Acquisitive meaning greedy? I don't think I'm greedy. Acquisition oriented, though, is different. So, I do like to acquire time objects. I like to make time objects. I like to archive them. I'm into archivism. 8. That's your beast mode alpha male kind of guy. 9. 9 I don't get either. 9 is the peacemaker. Oh, the peacemaker. Yeah, I do get that. That's... I can think of a few types like that. Let's go back. Can we show that other slide with the 2 parts again? 9 says IF. Oh, yeah, INFJ. I was going to say, okay. Yeah. Corey. That's Corey. That's totally Corey. So Corey's a 9. I'm a 7. My mom's a 6. My dad is an interesting question. And I think I would put my dad as a 3. A 3 for sure. A frustrated ENTP 3. Not super excelling, or not super driven, but excelling. And image conscious for sure. More so than me. Or at least, yeah, I think that's fair. Because look, if you're image conscious in a way that is you're aware of the fact that you have an image of some sort that you're projecting, doesn't necessarily mean you're overly concerned with it. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that you're concerned with it in a compare yourself to others kind of way that I would deem not a good use of time. Alright, I think we're going to stop this video. Are we almost at 30 minutes? Yeah, we are. Okay, so I'm going to wind down here for this first 30 minutes of this, and then I'm going to have to come back and do the other 30 minutes later because the phone only has a 35-minute max of time. I like that it's 35 instead of 30 because you can get your full 30 minutes in and you go a little over and it's fine. When we come back, we're going to discuss, yes, that's right, Bob, you jumped the gun, but Well, that's fine. We give them a little look ahead. When we return for the second half of this, we're going to talk about the Enneagram model's growth directionality. In other words, how your type is supposed to move if you're going to become better as a human being, according to the Enneagram, or how your type will move if you're becoming worse as a human being, according to Enneagram. So that's what we're going to start with when we return. Thanks for watching part 1, and I hope you enjoyed the song at the beginning. I really like that one. Comes a better stop barking. I like it a lot. I think it's really catchy. I like the mission part. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end too, fuck yeah! I must have done something right. Thanks, bye.